Well, hey everybody, I am so excited to be here for the very first episode of RTTV. Tonight is our premiere, it is the start of our premiere week, and I am so excited because we have some amazing things planned for you this week and throughout the entire course of RTTV. It's going to be fantastic for your marketing and your branding and your social media marketing strategies, and I cannot wait to dive in with you guys. Now we're going to give it just a minute for everybody to jump in. I know that people are logging on, so we're going to give it just a second before we get started. But I wanted to give you a little hint about what we're talking about tonight. So have you ever been in a situation where you're on your phone, you're scrolling through Instagram, and you see people who have the most gorgeous accounts, and you wonder how on earth do they manage to do that? Everything looks so pretty and so curated and so stylized, and you have absolutely no idea how to do that yourself. It makes life pretty hard, doesn't it? When you can see that everybody has needs and you just don't. Well, don't worry, because today, that's exactly what we're talking about. Now, I know everybody's signing in. It's great to see everybody. I'm so happy to see all of you. Alyssa, you are here. I am so grateful to see you guys. Alyssa Chiavari is in the house today. I'm so excited. I know a couple other people are signing on. This is going to be fantastic. And I'm going to warn you right now, right here, we have a ridiculous thunderstorm. So it actually just stormed super, super bad. And, oh, hello, Clara. Nice to Clara Kenzie in the house. So right now it is storming. It was storming pretty bad. It was super pitch black dark, not good. But it just miraculously brightened. So I'm not even using my extra lights. This is all natural light, which is awesome. So if for some reason our feed goes down or something bad happens, super sorry. It's a thunderstorm. We will fix it if we can. So just keep your eye on the Reading Transforms community, and I will communicate with you if for some horrible reason something happens. So I am super glad that you are all here today. We are going to go ahead and get started. So let me pull up our intro, which I am so super excited about. This is going to be awesome. Welcome to the very first episode of RTTV. Here we go.
Welcome to RTTV, brought to you by Reading Transforms, with your host, K.M. Robinson of K.M. Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. If you look to the right of your screen, you will note a chat box. We encourage you to ask questions and comment throughout the show. Our moderators will be watching the feed and collecting questions for our hosts to answer during the end of the broadcast. Use the red question mark tab to differentiate your questions from your comments in the feed. If you are a member of our Facebook community and our weekly newsletter, your notes will be emailed to you shortly. Make sure that you are active this week in our Facebook community for deeper insights into how to apply this into your marketing strategy and for ongoing support. Welcome to the weekly live broadcast that will revolutionize your author branding, book marketing, and social media marketing strategies.
At Reading Transforms, one of the main things I teach my authors is how to implement social media into their marketing strategies. One of my favorite platforms to focus on is Instagram. Now, of course, this may be because I'm a professional photographer and Instagram is all about the photos, but I love using that to market authors' brands and their books. Now, have you ever seen an account that you're just immediately drawn into whenever you jump onto their page? You notice how beautiful their images are and you wish that yours could be like that too. Well, let me tell you something. It can be. The thing most of these Instagrammers have in common is that they have created a signature style throughout their imagery that works with their brand and with their marketing strategy, and you can have that too. So let's talk. I'm going to give you 7 steps for creating your signature style on Instagram. Now, I've taught these to my own authors. I've used this within my own branding. I promise you this is a great way to engage your fans and get them to be more active throughout your account. So let's check it out. The first step in creating your own signature style for Instagram is to pick a consistent background. Now, you're going to want to pick something that is easy for you to use and easy for you to access. If you have different colored backgrounds, it's going to look different in your account. But if you have a consistent background, that shows that you've put a lot of thought into your marketing strategy, that you've put a lot of thought into your imagery. So if you look through, a lot of times you can do things like solid white backgrounds or solid black backgrounds. Sometimes people have deskscapes as their backgrounds, so it's all consistent. They have wooden colored backgrounds. Some people even use like a chalkboard background. And you can implement this into your imagery too. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of these, but we're actually going to hold on and wait until the end for me to show you these examples, because I'm actually going to be showing you two of my own Instagram accounts. I have one that is dedicated to Reading Transforms, so it's got all the things that I'm teaching, but then I also have one specifically dedicated to books where I've implemented my signature style. So because in my normal Reading Transforms account, I do things that teach authors and teach book bloggers how to do different types of book styling, as well as all the other things that Reading Transforms teaches. There's a lot of inconsistency within my images. Now, if you take a look, you can kind of see definitely shot by the same person, definitely the same kind of lighting, but my background colors are different. I have different backgrounds for different things because, and especially within my book styling images, I am teaching people how to photograph them based on the book cover and the book content, and that does not always equate to the same color background. But within my book Instagram, everything is consistent, and you're going to see how that looks and how the differences are in these accounts and how they affect how people see my accounts. Now, the second part of this is consistent lighting. If you have ever hung out with any of my author branding and marketing classes, or if you've checked into my Periscope live broadcasts, you have heard me talk about consistent lighting and how it affects your imagery. And it's very important to remember not only to use a consistent light source, so I recommend using natural light. You don't want to use artificial light because it has this yellow tone in most cases that streams down on your images and tints your images weird colors. So you want to use a natural light, like being in front of a big window or a big door, so then that light is streaming in and affecting your images in a good way, as opposed to that yellow light from your artificial lights. Now, if you absolutely cannot use a natural light source, you can pull in an artificial light, but make sure it's white toned. You don't want that yellow tone because that's going to mess with your images. It's important to keep this consistent because it's going to look different in each of your images. You want to make sure that you have that consistent light, so when you are editing or when you're posting, it all looks the same. And this is affected by the time of day, not just your location. So always shoot in front of the same window at the same time of day, because morning, maybe you don't have as much light, but the afternoon you have more light. Or maybe in the morning it's streaming directly inside of your window, and in the afternoon you're only getting shadows. So you want to keep that relatively consistent. If you can pick an hour of the day, so between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., or between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m., and you get those images shot, you're going to have a more consistent look to your imagery. And it's very important to keep this consistent, because if you don't, people are going to notice, and it's going to make it harder if you are editing these images. The third step is to pick your decorations. Now, picking your decorations is definitely going to be one of the most fun things that you get to do when you're styling your images, because you get to draw in elements from the book. So I teach my clients, if you've ever hung out on my YouTube channel and watched any of our resource videos, you know that when you're picking decorations for your images, you want to do them based either on the cover of the book or on the content of the book. So if you're basing it on the content of the cover, you're going to pull in elements and colors that have to do with the picture on the cover of the book. If you are designing your images based on the cover of, or the content of the story, you are going to want to go through the book. This is after you've read it. Write down a list of things that reoccur throughout it, or objects that pop up throughout the story, and incorporate those into your images to kind of draw in your readers and your fans and say, I wonder what that has to do with this book. How is that thing connected? So how is the apple connected? Or how is the map connected? How is the magnifying glass connected to this story? You can do all sorts of really great marketing things when you are bringing in these objects. Now, You have to be careful when you're picking objects because certain things will work and certain things will not work within your image. Anything shiny or metallic because it's going to be reflective. If you have those reflective surfaces, it's going to get you taking the picture within your image, and that's not going to look pretty. So matte finishes on anything that should be a gold or a silver or metallic-y color, you want to go with that matte finish and avoid shiny finishes because it's just not going to work well for you. You don't want to do anything that's too distracting, and you don't want to cover up any part of the book with your objects. So if you have shiny flowers, it's okay to put them on the cover. Just don't cover up the title, don't cover up the author's name, because those are the important things when you're getting your fans to come in and look at your image and think, yes, I want that book. I want to know more about that book. I want to look up that book. They have to have the title, and they have to have the author's name so that they can find it. So you have to be careful when you are picking objects. You don't want anything too flashy, you don't want anything too bright, you definitely don't want anything too shiny because you want it to go with your image. And whatever you pick, do not overwhelm your book. You want your book to be the focus, which actually brings us to point number 5, keeping the book the focus. Now, to keep your book the focus, you have to make sure that your background does not take away from your book. Your objects do not take away from your books. Your book should be front and center. So when someone looks at your image, what is the first thing that they see? Are they looking at that book? Or are they looking at all the little knickknacks that you have around the book? Are they looking at the super creative background that you have the book laying on? You don't want them to be looking anywhere but that book. The first thing that you and your fans should see when you see your images is to notice the book. The book should always be the focus. Now, I'm going to tell you, from a professional photographer standpoint, our eyes are drawn to the lightest part of an object. So if you've got very light things surrounding it, and the rest is dark, they may kind of tend to gravitate toward those lighter things. So watch your colors. You don't want anything that's too bright and poppy with your book. You want to make sure that your book is staying as the focus. Our 6th step for your signature style for Instagram imagery is to make sure that you are leaving space to edit your image. Now, when you put your book down, when you put your decorations around, you are probably going to want to write some words. So if you are an author and you are talking about your book and you want to say that your book's on sale, or you want to give a quote from your book, or you want to talk about a quote that a fan or a fellow author has written for you, you're going to want to leave space for that. You don't want to fill up the entire image. And as human beings, our intent is usually to kind of fill up that space and make sure everything looks nice and pretty. And I know even as a professional photographer, I jump into my images and sometimes I have to check myself because I'm sitting there decorating it and making it look pretty, and then I take up my entire space, and suddenly I realize as I've put all of my flowers or my magnifying glass or my dishes or whatever it is that I'm using, as I put those down and I make this beautiful design, that's fine if I'm doing it for me, but if I'm doing it for marketing purposes, I have to leave space. I need to leave space for my authors to get their words on there. I need to leave space for a logo or a watermark. I need to leave space for a website. So as you are picking what you are doing and as you are decorating, figure out before you take this photo where you want your words to be. Are they going to be in the upper corner? Are they going to be on the side? Is it going to be on the bottom? Where within your image are you going to be putting your writing, and what are you going to be doing? Once you figure that out, you can leave a space. So if you design your image and you want a quote right next to the book, put your flowers or your stones or your whatever around it and leave that gap there so that you will have a space to write. And make sure you know if you want your watermark, which is another word for your logo, or you want your website, or you want a quote, or if you want them all, make sure you're leaving space for that. Oftentimes, and this is a pro tip here, oftentimes you are going to want to put that book dead center of your image. And that's fine, but you only have so much space on the sides to be writing your words. So I usually recommend putting your book off to one side or the other so that you have space to put your quotes, so that you have space to put your watermark or your logo, and that you have space to put your website there. Putting things slightly off center not only gives you space to write, but it adds visual interest to your image. So we don't necessarily focus things in the center of your image when we as professional photographers are taking images, because it is nicer to look at if it is not dead center. Now, the seventh step is possibly the most important in this series of steps for designing your signature style for Instagram. And step 7 is take the photo. I know that I've dropped a lot of information on you on how to design images, and I know that I breezed over a lot of that too. So if you jump onto our YouTube channel, you can actually go through a series of videos I have created on how to photograph your books and how to photograph your marketing materials so that you get the best images possible to then market your books and market your brand. So definitely check that out for more information, and we're going to talk about a couple more things before we go. But the most important part of all of this is just to take the photo. You have to take it. I know you could spend forever decorating and making everything look beautiful. I know that I do that sometimes. I'm definitely a perfectionist when it comes to my images. I'm a professional photographer. It's my job to be super, super specific about things. But it gets to a point where you can't worry about every little detail. You have to take the photo. It doesn't matter what you're photographing with. I photograph with my high-end camera, but sometimes I photograph with my phone too. All of these tips that I'm giving you applies to both professional cameras and to your iPhone photography. All of these things can be done with either set of cameras. And so your main goal here is to get your book on a background that works for you and does not detract from your book cover. Decorate it in a way that gets your fans' interest but does not take away the focus from your book. And then get the photo. It doesn't even matter about anything else. It doesn't matter how you're photographing it, when you're photographing it. You just have to get it. Because if you take an hour to design one photo, that's not going to go well for your business. You have other things that you can be doing. You can be working on your marketing. You can be working on your social media. You can be interacting with your fans. Your priority here is not to take 2 hours to create one photo. I do not take 1 hour to create one photo. That's not how I work. I work very quickly. Nothing has to be perfect. It just has to look nice. It has to look decent. And the great thing is you're not doing this live. Sometimes I photograph things live. I pull up my Periscope and I photograph things live. And even then, I'm arranging things quickly and then I'm taking my images. You do not have to have it perfect on the first attempt. You could take a photo, look at it, decide whether you like it or not, and then rearrange things. Move your flowers, move your rocks, move the plates, move the book, angle the book, change things. It's okay to take several images in a set and then decide on the best one. You do not have to have just one thing and that's it. You can change things. This is digital photography. You're not working with film. We're not wasting film. You can use your digital camera. You can use your phone. You can use all sorts of things. You can even edit in your phone these days. I'm a photographer. That makes me cringe, but you can. Instagram has filters. I hate that. As a professional photographer, that makes me want to die inside. But you can do it. You can do whatever you have to do to edit these photos, to make them look good, to make them work for your brand. Now, I know right now some of you are looking at me saying, but I don't have editing. I don't Photoshop. I don't understand. Don't worry. There are things that you can do. If you jump onto the link I will drop a little bit later today, there will be different editing places that you can go for free on the internet and edit your photos. And then, of course, if you jump onto our resource page, you can look through our YouTube channel for how to photograph your books better. I've touched on just a couple of things today, but we'll talk about how to pick the right backgrounds. So solid colors that don't take away, no wrinkles in your fabric, things like that. We'll talk about lighting. We'll talk about making reflectors for $1. You can make something that works as well as my professional reflectors to bounce light onto your images so that you illuminate your book better, so that it looks nicer. I've taught my book bloggers this. I've taught my authors this. And literally it costs $1. It's so easy to do. I will teach you all about it. But your goal here is to get your photo and get it online. So let's talk a little bit about your themes. We're going to talk a little bit about your signature style. So now everybody's going to have a different signature style. Yours is probably not going to be the same as mine. Like I said at the beginning, we're going to be taking a look at my Instagram accounts. I have 2 of them. I have one for teaching you guys, And I have one that is dedicated to my signature style that revolves around the books that I'm reviewing and reading and working with. And when we look at those in just a minute, you're going to see the difference between the two. The things from my signature style account are going to be incorporated into my teaching account. But not everything in the teaching account is going to be in the signature style account, and there's a reason for that. So let's talk a little bit about your signature style. Who are you? What is your brand? What can you be doing to represent your brand within your imagery? Well, for my account, for my signature style, I tend to go with a white high-key background. So that's a very bright white background that's usually laid down flat like a desk, and then I shoot down on it. That doesn't have to be yours. Sometimes I like to do a black desk setting, and on occasion I do a wooden setting. But some people do things like putting their book on their comforter, on their bed, and shooting down on that. And so every book that they read is shot down on their bedding, on their bed. You could do things like having a snack in every single one of your images, which I think is a great idea to incorporate a food item into your imagery. But you can also do things like books and shoes. So maybe you put your book on the ground and you photograph it with your pretty shoes. You could do things like taking your book outside. So everything that you do is very nature oriented. So maybe you're a very green person, maybe your blog or maybe your writing is very green inspired, and you want to take everything outside. So you can put it in the grass, you can put it on rocks, you can put it near the dirt. Clearly you don't want to get your book messy. Don't put it in the water. You can put it near the water, but you got to be careful with what you're doing. You can do things like books and drawing. So if you're an artist or if you are inspired to be drawing as you are working, you can draw sketches. Or as an author, you can create a series of images with your fans' artwork. So if they are creating artwork for you, once you get their permission, you can print that out and put that with your book. Maybe you are the type of author or book blogger that really enjoys jewelry and you're very stylish and very fashionable, and you want to take your necklaces or your earrings or your rings and kind of decorate your deskscape with your book and kind of pull in things that match that and give that same feel. That would be something great to incorporate into your imagery. You could do books on shelves. I know that's a huge thing to do pictures of your shelfie, which is where you have your books up on your bookshelf and you snap a picture and pop that on Instagram for people to see. So if you are reading a book or you're recommending a friend's book or you're comparing your books to another book, put them up on your shelf with those books, snap a picture and get that up on Instagram. You may be the type of person who is in love with coffee. If you are a fan of the upcoming Gilmore Girls revival, which I totally am, I'm so excited for that. You can grab your books or your marketing materials, pop them on a table, and put coffee there, or tea, or whatever it is that you like, whatever is representative of you and your brand. Make sure it's not just you. You don't want to just represent things that you like, but you want to represent your brand. So we're going to talk about your brand as opposed to your personal style and your personal influences at some point throughout this series. But there are very different things. Your personal life and your very, very different. But we're going to get to that. You can do really cool and awesome things to create your signature style for Instagram. You just have to figure out who you are and who your brand is. So maybe dark colors are going to be very representative of your brand. And then you're going to want to do a black solid background and shoot down on that for your images. But maybe you're very light and bright and bubbly and you want to do a high-key white background with pastel influences. Maybe you're very, very blue-oriented with your design in your website and in your blog and in your social media, and so you want to include blue elements. Or maybe you're very, like we said, organic and nature-related, and you want to bring in those succulents and those plants and those nature things and outdoor things. You want to keep that as the focus of your branding within your signature style. It's super important to decide on your style and then translate that into all of your images and all of your marketing, because you want that cohesive style. So this does not end with your Instagram. This translates to your Twitter, to your Facebook, to your Snapchat, to your blog, and to your website. You want this to be in all of your marketing. You want to be very aware of your branding and make sure that that's incorporated in everything so that you have a cohesive look, so that when your fans see your images, they think, yes, I know this belongs to this person. So for example, when I am doing my photography, all of my images are connected. They have the same coloring style, they have the same tonality, they have the same focus on different elements that I bring into my images. And so when my fans see my work, they always know that's K.M. Robinson photography. That is not taken by any of these other photographers. This is specific to her because it fits within her branding and within the brand that I've created for my photography. You need to do that too for your brand. Now, there are, of course, recurring things that you can have within your images. So maybe we're not just focusing on your colors and your style, we're bringing in specific elements. So maybe you are very beach themed with everything that you're doing and you want to bring in seashells. Maybe, like we keep going back to that organic nature look, you want to bring in succulents to every single one. Maybe you are very oriented on your writing and helping other writers. So you want to bring in those deskscape images so that it always looks like you're working on a desk. There are different elements that you can bring in reoccurring throughout your images that will influence your brand and how your fans see you. So now I keep talking about my 2 Instagram pages. I think it's time to finally take a look at these pages. So let's take a look at what we're doing here. First, I'm going to pull up my teaching Instagram account. So this is for Reading Transforms. This is where I put all of my teaching, my tutorials, my resources. Whenever I do book stylings and I'm teaching how to do those, I put those there. I put my videos there. Everything that could be related to the educational side of Reading Transforms goes in this Instagram account. So as we scroll through, you can kind of see that we've got different elements that often pop up but are not necessarily consistent throughout the entire Instagram account. So if we are looking here, you can kind of see I've got advertisements for some of my events that I have coming up. I've got a lot of white-based images, but I also have a lot of color-based images. So you'll see a lot of white-based images followed by a blue image, followed by an image on a bed, followed by some gold images, and then more white. We've got some sparkly purples in there. I've got some nature things. I've got blog posts in there. I've got the videos in there. I've got some of my fine art photography in there. I've got ads. I've got all sorts of things on this. And these are all related to my teaching. Now, when you look at this, you can very clearly see that these all are very cohesive. They all go together. Everything makes sense within this collection, but it's not super, super streamlined. And as a professional photographer and as a professional designer, that kind of bothers me. So instead of just doing this one account where I can't necessarily have a signature style, I created my secondary account, which is directly linked to the books that I'm reviewing or the books that I'm working with. So let's pop over to that one and check it. Now, as you can see, in this account, everything is white-based. So it's a high-key white background that usually I shoot straight down on, and it looks like it's sitting on a desk in most cases. So you'll see things like a keyboard, you'll see coffee, you'll see cell phones, you'll see plants, you'll see other things that you would find on a desktop or a deskscape image. So you're going to see and you're going to notice that they're all very white-based, and a lot of them have gold tones within them. Now, not all of them have those gold tones, but most of them do. Some of them have colors that pop within the image, but throughout all of them, you can see very clearly that this is from a cohesive, well-thought-out collection of images that I've created based on that high-key white background and bringing in deskscape elements to create these images. So do you see the difference between these images? Throughout the education resource page, we kind of have a lot of different things that are a cohesive look that definitely fit with my branding, definitely go with what I'm working on, but aren't necessarily a super signature style based collection. But my secondary account for just the books, that is very, very streamlined and very, very organized and very much one of those things where people will see it and think, yes, that 100% belongs to Reading Transforms. That is definitely Katie's style. That is something that she has created specifically for this streamlined account. People will see my Reading Transforms resource stuff, and yes, they will attribute that to me, and yes, clearly that fits with me, but it's not necessarily the exact same thing in a streamlined version every single time, and that is important. That's what gets noticed. So when you go and you look at these Instagram accounts, the ones that you love, the ones that you're drawn to, the ones that you keep checking over and over and over, It's the same thing over and over and over again because they found their signature style and they've incorporated that. So it's always outside, or it's always on the bed with their socks and a mug of tea or coffee. It's always something very similar, and it's something that you come to expect from these people. When you can give that consistency to your fans, when they can expect something from you, when they can see something and instantly attribute it to you, that is when your marketing is a success, because you want them to be able to see it, even if it's not your account, even if it's not with your watermark or your logo on it. And you want them to know that that's yours. When my photography fans see my artwork somewhere else that is not on my website, not on my social media pages, that doesn't have my watermark or my logo on it, they automatically know that's mine. Now, I can tell you, I've had photographer friends of mine post things elsewhere, and I automatically know that it belongs to them. One of my photographer friends did a book cover not too long ago, and they released the book cover before she had said anything to anybody about doing this. And I automatically knew the second that the publisher released the cover that it was this particular photographer or a really good knockoff. And then it turns out it actually was her. I recognized it immediately because of the color tones, because of the style, because of what she did with it. I knew that it belonged to her, even though it had no physical connection to her. There was no name, there was no watermark, there was no link. I knew it because I knew her work. And your fans will know your work when they see that consistent signature style throughout your Instagram account. Now, I know this is a lot to take in. I know that you're thinking that you've got a lot that you have to work on now, and you do. You need to make sure that you're using a consistent background that is free of wrinkles, that is not problematic, it's not shiny, and it looks good and it doesn't detract from your book. You need to make sure that you are using consistent lighting so that it all looks the same and you don't have to waste time editing it later on or your way. You need to make sure that you are picking good decorations that are not shiny and not distracting, that are going to look good and enhance the message of your book or your marketing. You need to make sure that you are arranging these objects in a way that does not take away from your book and keeps your book as the focus of your image and your marketing. And you need to make sure that you are leaving space to edit your logo, your website, or your quotes onto your images so that you don't have to go back and reshoot it later. And then you need to make sure you're taking this photo. It doesn't have to be professional. It doesn't have to be great. It just has to be done. You can do this. Now, I'm not going to leave you high and dry. I know this is a lot to take in. I know that this is a lot to work on. So I've got a freebie for you. I'm not going to leave you so that you have to figure this out all yourself. I have a checklist for you. It is an Instagram style checklist, so you can go through and make sure step by step that the images that you are creating actually have to do with the branding and the signature style that you have created. And you are going to see your market or your marketing grow, and you're going to see your branding grow. You're going to see your fans engage and really start to ask questions and get interactive with your images based on the changes you're making within your signature style. We're not even talking about the words that we're putting with it, based solely on the images that you are posting and how you are creating them in a customized signature style collection. You are going to see your fans respond. And I know this is going to be true because I've seen it in my brand. I've seen it in the brands of my authors. Over the last couple of months, I have taken the time to create month-long collections of images for some of my authors. And once a day, or almost once a day, they are posting brand new images within a stylized collection that I have shot for them. And I have seen the overwhelming response that their fans have given them. They want to know where they got it, how they did it, why they did it like this, whether that has to do with their branding, how is it connected to their book. They want to know more about it. And they're always commenting about how nice it looks and how good it goes with their branding. See, I didn't just snap a bunch of pictures and call it a collection. I got in there, figured out the author's brands, figured out what worked with their themes and their look of their website and their blog, and then I made images that worked within that branding for a cohesive and high-end look. You can do that too. So at the end of this episode, I will be dropping the link into the chat box so that you can take a look at your freebie download. All you gotta do is download it. You can go through your checklist. We're gonna have notes in the blog post as well. So everything we've talked about today, that is going to go on the blog post too. Now, if you have signed up for our newsletter, and I hope that you have, we have a lot of really cool stuff coming your way, because whenever we do an episode like this, we're going to be dropping notes and more exclusive content in your email the day after the episode. It's going to be really awesome. So every Sunday you will jump online and you will get in your inbox further details on how you can bring this into your marketing and your branding and incorporate this into your marketing strategies. And if you have not signed up for our newsletter yet, I have a special bonus for you. I know I like bonuses. Lots of bonuses. Bonuses are great. We have an ebook for you that is a PDF file. It's going to be fantastic, and it is how to creatively and effectively market your books even when you're flat broke. So it is a series of ideas for you to market your books as an author, or if you're a book blogger, you can kind of tweak it to work with your marketing. But it's totally free ideas. So this is a free download of free ideas. It's things that you can do that you will not have to pay a cent for, that will engage your fans, get them to interact with you, and get them interested in your brand again. And none of it's pushy. You never, ever, ever feel like you are shoving your book and your content down their throats, because it's fun, it's engaging, and it gives value from you to your fans. And if that wasn't enough, I also, at the back of this PDF, have given you a list of free contest prizes. So for those of you who want to do events or contests or giveaways, but you don't have money or you don't want to spend money on a prize, I have a list of totally free things that you can offer your clients or your fans as prizes. Some of it requires your time, but it never requires money. It's fantastic. So if you have not signed up, jump onto www.readingtransforms.com and you can get your free guide. At the very top of the website, you will see up at the top where you can sign up for that, also further down on the page, and then down at the very bottom of the page, because we like to give you lots of multiple opportunities to jump in there and get your freebie. So I'm constantly giving away freebies. Make sure you are checking for that. For most of our episodes here at RTTV, we are going to be doing freebies with our lessons. Make sure that you hang out with me all week long, because during this premiere week, we have some really cool things that we are teaching all the way up to our big premiere on Saturday, and each of them, or most of them, have downloads and freebies for you that's going to make your life a lot easier as you are planning your marketing strategy and planning your branding. So now that we've talked about the 7 steps to creating your signature style for Instagram, let's talk. What questions do you have? Jump over into the question or the chat box on the side, on the right side of your screen, and drop those questions in. And I'm going to answer those for you live right now. So go ahead, drop those in there. It's question time. So we've got some questions that we are going to be answering. The moderators have sent these to me. Got them here on my phone, and it's getting a little bit dark, so I'm going to pop that on for us, because we had that nice little transition. We've got the thunderstorm happening right now, so unfortunately my light is a little bit inconsistent today, so just kind of run with me on this. So let's take a look at these questions. Alyssa wants to know, for Instagram, do you recommend using your phone or taking it on a regular camera and moving it to your phone later? Well, honestly, I've got 2 answers for this. Because I am a professional photographer, it kind of kills me to take photos on my phone. And so I'm not a big fan of that, but it is very convenient. Now, on the flip side, I do have one of my mentors who is a professional photographer. She's one of the best in the industry. And for her Instagram feed, she actually takes the time to go through and photograph everything on her phone. She edits it right on her phone, and then she posts it. So really, you can get incredible results from your phone if you have a good phone. And so I see no problem in doing that, especially if you are doing lifestyle things through your author brand. So you can totally do that. I would maybe do a mix of both your phone and your real camera, your not professional, but your better higher quality camera and kind of mix it in there. Now, you don't want to do anything grainy, you don't want to do anything pixelated, so if you have a low light situation, you're probably not going to want to take it on your phone because it's going to come out all grainy. So if you have not jumped onto our YouTube channel yet and seen our how to photograph videos, that is definitely something that you're going to want to check out because it teaches you how to shoot in low and limited lighting. And there's some great photography tips on there that you definitely want to check out. So I would definitely say you can take it on your phone, you can take it on your camera, and then email it to yourself or text message it to yourself and then put it on from there. If you go through my feed, it's definitely all professionally done. I'm not a fan of taking things on my phones. Every once in a while, I will pop one on there just as an example or something, but it's really up to you. Whatever works for you and your brand, as long as you are consistent with your styling and your lighting, you're going to be okay. So we've got another question. This one is from Clara. What if you aren't a book blogger or a bookstagrammer? Do all of our photos have to be of books? There are a lot of Instagram challenges for authors that have us photographing other things, such as our writing space, our new favorite, or a favorite review, things like that, so that our feed won't always be consistent. As a reader and author, I actually really like the Instagram feeds that are more than just photos of books. I like to see the person's personality and life. Well, absolutely. I say books because that's what I teach. I teach photographing books for marketing purposes, but you do not have to have, and you should not have, a feed full of books because, yes, we are part of the book world, but that's not everything. So with your author brand, and if you have hung out for any of my online courses or any of the different programs I've run on author branding, you know that your brand is about everything that you do. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's not just the books that you write and the books that you're reading. I would hate to go on an author's page and just see books, whether it's your books or the books that you're reading. That's great. I love those recommendations. I love seeing your marketing in your books, but I definitely don't want to see just books. Just books should be left to the bookstagrammers and the people who are book bloggers, and that's their entire feed. If you go through my feed for Reading Transforms on my main Reading Transforms page, you're going to notice that, yes, I've got some books, but I have other things too. I've got some of the programs I'm running, I've got quotes, I've got all sorts of things, but here's the key. It's all tied into my branding. So if you go to my feed, it is not just books. Even though I am teaching how to photograph books and how to use them in your marketing, my entire feed is a compilation of things within the same styling. So if you look, I've got desk pictures, I've got pictures of books on desks, I've got pictures that don't have books, but do have desk things. So the little trays I use, the scissors, the magnifying glass, and then I put a quote with it, or I put a link with it. I recommend different things with it. So it's all within the same styling branch. So I've picked the things that I'm using, the color scheme that I'm using, the lighting scheme that I'm using, that is consistent through all of my imagery, except for those couple of graphics where I'm teaching things that are clearly outside of that particular styling. Now, I know as authors, you oftentimes do things like those challenges, and it tells you very specifically what you have to do. With that, you need to make sure that you are being very careful to keep that within your styling. Now, I know some of these things are not going to have the same color scheme, and that's okay. It's okay if you've got little pops of color or things that are a little bit different, but try to keep most of your image within your styling. So you want that same natural light. You want that same color tone. You want the same feel. If you are using all natural colors in your scheme, you're going to kind of want to stick to those neutral colors. Find things that are the same. So even if they say photograph your mug of coffee, find a way to make it go with your branding. The key is to go with the style that you choose. So anything that they throw at you, you can take and twist it and tweak it so that it fits with your branding, and that is what is key. So if you scroll through some of these feeds, you're going to find people, even book bloggers who are just solely about books, they're going to have a couple of things that aren't about books, but it still goes with their branding because they work their style into it. They work those colors, they work the lighting, they work the way they're shooting it, they work the different objects into it that they're using, and that is what makes it unique to them. So your whole goal here is to make sure that your images are all within your style, whether it's book pictures, whether it's pictures of your writing space, whether it's pictures of your coffee. It just has to be within your style so that when someone sees it, they think, oh yes, that belongs to that author. I know this because of whatever. Whatever that style is, they know it belongs to you. So when they see my stuff, it's typically white with gold accents and natural lighting, and everything's very high key and bright. When they see that, they know it's me. Whether they're on my website, whether they're on my blog, whether they are in my Instagram or my Twitter or whatever, my Facebook, all of those things are very, very consistent. As long as you have that consistency, that's what's going to click. So I want to use a good background, but I don't necessarily want to use the foam board. What do I need to know when I'm photographing on tables? Well, when you're photographing on tables, you have to be very careful because this goes to matte finish and shiny finish. So you want to do a test shoot before you take your actual pictures. So you want to hold your phone up or your camera and shoot down on your table. Is it reflective? Is it shiny? Or is it leaving shine spots? You probably don't want to use that. If it's a nice matte finish, run with it. As long as it looks good and it doesn't distract from your books or your objects or your whatever, as long as it fits with your style, you are good to go. So we are coming up on the end of our time. If you have any last minute questions, now is the time to pop that in. We talked today about, hey Katie, this is all great feedback. I was wondering if you have any photo editing apps that you would recommend so that we can instantly stylize or make our photos prettier. Oh gosh. Well, I don't photograph much on my phone, but I do believe I've got some apps. I'm going to pull them up and see what I've got. I have a whole folder labeled picture editing right here. I know, and don't quote me on this because I do not use these because I don't photograph on my phone. So I got these on the recommendation of some other photographer people of mine. So let's see. I've got Snapseed on there. I'm pretty sure that's one that you can use to edit. It's in association with Google, so that one's probably pretty good. They have PS Express, which is Photoshop Express. That is very much like the real Photoshop that real professionals use. So I would definitely recommend that one because that's definitely something that's going to help you out there. That one's going to be pretty good. If you are looking to make your photos square, there's an app called N-Squares. That is the one I used back when Instagram would only let us do the square pictures. I would pop it in there if it was a rectangular picture, and it would give me like a matte frame around it, so that was good for Instagram. Instagram now lets you tap on usually it's the bottom left corner of your image, and it spaces it right, so it will do rectangular pictures for you. I have an app called Over. That one, I think you can do texting and pictures on it. Clara in our chat room is saying Pixlr, P-I-X-L-R app on her phone has lots of editing options. So here's mine. Boom. Those are what I have. You can look those up later. And then I know within Instagram itself, they do have some filters and things that you can use. I mentioned my mentor earlier, who is a professional photographer. She actually edits right within her Instagram app. So if you kind of learn how to do that, you can totally run with that. But styling for me is definitely going to be solely about getting it right in camera. So that's something that we as professional photographers are very adamant about. Get it right in camera. We don't like to do a lot of post work unless we're doing fine arts work. So get it as good as you can in camera. You want to work with that natural lighting. You can even, when you snap the pictures, I know directly on an iPhone, they have things that you can edit right there, I think. Yeah, so if you click on the little thing, it gives you different options for editing. So there's a lot of different options within your phone and within apps that you can use to edit it, but definitely try to get it right in camera because that really, really helps. So work on your lighting. Check out those videos on our YouTube channel because there's a whole series of them that teach you specifically how to edit your photos. And make sure you're hanging out with us this week because on Thursday and Saturday, I had to calculate there, on Thursday and Saturday, we are doing 2 more really awesome classes on here where I'm going to be talking about tips for photographing books and objects and things. It's really going to help too. But check out the YouTube page. That's really going to help you. It has dark and limited lighting. It has how to avoid glare. It has styling with your different elements that you're adding in. It has all sorts of fun tips and tricks that are really going to be helpful. So at the moment, my thunderstorm is coming back full force. It is super dark. You can see how dark my face has become with the shadows. I've got my artificial light over here blaring. I really should get both of those out to illuminate from both sides. I did not see this nice weather coming. I thought it was going to be lovely today. Unfortunate, but that's okay because it's our first episode and here we are with a bang. So thank you guys so very much for joining me today. Do not forget that this week is premiere week. So usually we are going to be here Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. We will be dropping the link in our Reading Transforms community. All of our notes are going to be sent out via email through our newsletter. If you've not signed up, make sure you do. For premiere week, I'm not sending it out every single day because I don't want to bombard you with an email every single day, especially for the people who didn't pop on and weren't expecting this. So all of these notes will be sent out at the end of the week on Sunday. So thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate it. The rest of the week, we're going to have some great lessons to be working on. We are going to be dealing tomorrow with how to do your elevator pitch. So when that stranger or that long-lost relative approaches you and says, I know you're an author, but what do you do? And you have that deer in the headlights look, well, tomorrow we're talking about what to do so that you don't freeze up, so that you don't panic. You know exactly what to say to make your point, and so that they know exactly who you are and what you do. And I'm doing it in a simple step-by-step procedure. It is 3 sentences long, and it is so easy that I brought 4 of my author friends on. They are going to be doing it live so you can see how this works step by step. The next day, we're going to be talking about Descape Images, which is one of my favorite things to talk about because it takes your book and puts it directly in your reader's world. And it is so efficient for marketing because it puts it right in front of them and makes them think, yes, I want that. I know I need that. Then we are going to be doing a really great episode with Anna Marie Evans. She is coming to talk to us about queries. Now, I know some of you have your publications that you work with. They are amazing. You love them, but you still have to send your proposals into your editor and to the acquisitions people so that they can okay your next book. And some of you are trying to find an agent. Some of you are trying to find a publisher. And so these are going to be tips to help you, whether you are super, super happy with where you are or you are looking for somewhere new. I've gone over her notes and I've learned things, and I've been in this business a while now. I've talked to all of these acquisitions people, so definitely want to be here because these are simple tips and tricks that are going to make you stand out among the crowd and make everything so much more efficient. And then our very last night, we were talking about connection images, which is one of my all-time favorite things to do for marketing because it turns your marketing into a game that gets your fans into your book, whether it is a book that has been out for a while or a brand new release. I am so excited for this. I hope you'll stick around for all of our episodes this week. Before we go, I want to remind you there are a couple of things we need to know. But first, I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Oh, and I nearly forgot. I wanted to tell you about something special we are doing. I have been doing this for a while now, and I love this. It's called Kisses and Confetti. Kisses are for the things that we love this week, and confetti is for the people that we love this week. So my kisses for tonight are going to be my technology, which cooperated even through the thunderstorm. It's going to be Instagram stories because we have been talking about that for the last 2 weeks, and it has been so fantastic. And it's going to be my last kiss for tonight. It's going to be last night with our author live event. It was fantastic, and thank you so much to everybody who came out and was involved in that. My confetti is going to be for three fabulous people I want to shout out tonight. The first one is Alyssa Chiavari for keeping me sane all week long. Thank you. I love you. You're fantastic. The next one is Alexis Johnson. She is our Reading Transforms artist, and she has been working her tail off to help us this last week and the week before with all of our marketing stuff. You are awesome, girl. And my final one is my dear friend Aya. She tuned in last night. It was like 3 a.m. her time, and she hung out for the duration of the party. And she had something huge happen today. And she came and hung out with us anyway. So, love you, girls. Thank you. That's my kisses and confetti. And now to our final words. Let me get this pulled up for you. It's going to take just a second. There we go. And, all right. Thanks, guys. Stay inspired. Check this out.
Hey authors, I know that marketing your book can be so confusing, especially when you don't have a big budget to work with, but I want you to know that there are ways that you can market your book without costing you a cent. I have come up with a list of 20 totally cost-free marketing ideas that you can implement into your marketing strategy and see the same great results that my own authors have seen when they implemented it into their marketing plan. You can get your very own totally free copy of how to market your book creatively and effectively even when you're flat broke if you jump on to www.readingtransforms.com. Up near the top, you're going to see a spot where you can download it completely for free. It is my gift to you. I hope that you take this PDF and you use it in your marketing strategy and see incredible results, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Stay inspired. Do you have a new book releasing soon? Do you want to create a unique experience for your fans on your book release day? Do you want to interact with your fans, celebrate your book, and be the talk of the industry? Book launch live events bring all this and more right into your grasp. Rita Award winner and New York Times bestselling author Pin Tip Dunn called it the highlight of my release day. Dying to find out if this is for you? Visit booklaunchlive.readingtransforms.com for more info and see if this is the perfect thing for your release day. Do you ever feel like you're alone in the book world? When the conferences die down and you're sitting in front of your computer alone writing your next manuscript, things can seem very isolated. But they don't have to be. Do you ever feel like social media changes are getting the better of you? Do you feel like you need support that you just don't have? You don't have to be on your own trying to solve the algorithms. Join the Reading Transforms community for a group of authors and book world professionals going through the same things as you. Connect and support one another. Hear from industry leaders on technology changes, and get the latest updates on RTTV, the weekly live broadcast that teaches you to market your books and brand yourself more efficiently and creatively. Get the community and support that you've been longing for, and surround yourself with authors just like you. We'll see you there.